According to Reuters, Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of violating a one-day Easter ceasefire announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin. The truce declared until midnight Moscow time on Sunday was meant to pause hostilities along the front line in the three-year-old war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy said Russia pretended to observe the ceasefire but launched hundreds of artillery attacks on Saturday night and continued on Sunday. He reported 26 assaults between midnight and midday, accusing Russia of seeking favorable PR rather than peace. He also questioned whether Putin had full control over his military. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry claimed Ukraine violated the ceasefire over 1,000 times. It reported 444 attacks on Russian positions and over 900 drone strikes, including in Crimea and the border regions of Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod. The ministry said these attacks caused civilian casualties and damage. Despite these claims, Ukraine's military noted reduced activity along the front line, a sentiment echoed by some Russian military bloggers. However, Reuters could not verify any of the battlefield reports. US President Donald Trump, who has warned of escalation and caused the war as a proxy conflict, said his administration would abandon peace efforts without visible progress. Ukraine accepted his 30-day truce proposal, but Putin cited unresolved verification issues. Putin thanked Trump, China's Xi Jinping, and BRICS leaders for mediation efforts. Zelensky, addressing Ukrainians on Easter, urged hope for peace while reaffirming the purpose behind their resistance. President Joseph Aoun has called the disarming of Hezbollah a delicate issue, stressing that such a step requires the right circumstances to avoid national ruin. His remarks follow deadly Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon that killed 2 people despite a ceasefire with Hezbollah. Aoun emphasized that restricting weapons to the state is essential for civil peace, but warned against rushing the process. "We will implement it," he said, "but we have to wait for the circumstances," adding that no one was pressuring him on timing. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs has urged the international community to break its silence on what it called Israeli attacks on Christian worshippers during Easter. According to Al Jazeera, the ministry condemned the restrictions imposed on Christians in Jerusalem and labeled the actions as part of broader efforts of genocide, displacement, and annexation. They call on the world to step in and protect Jerusalem and its holy sites during these sensitive times. At the Vatican, Pope Francis made a brief appearance during Easter Sunday celebrations, continuing to recover from pneumonia. Although he did not preside over the Mass, his message was read aloud to the gathered crowd from the main balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. In the address, the 88-year-old pontiff called the situation in Gaza dramatic and deplorable, renewed his appeal for an immediate ceasefire, and urged Hamas to release hostages. The Pope also condemned the rise in global anti-Semitism and expressed solidarity with both the Israeli and Palestinian people, urging the world to support those suffering and striving for peace. The federal and Sindh governments have agreed to resolve the Canals project issue through dialogue. This follows a telephonic conversation between Prime Minister's advisor Rana Sanawallah and Sindh Senior Minister Sharjeel Memon, according to Memon's spokesperson. The move comes a day after PMLN leader Nawaz Sharif urged the federal government to hold talks with the PPP on the Punjab-Sindh water dispute, emphasizing that political point scoring must be avoided. During the call, both leaders agreed the matter should be addressed through discussions. Sanawallah stated that the Prime Minister and Nawaz Sharif had directed for Sindh's concerns to be addressed. Memon reiterated that the PPP and the people of Sindh have serious reservations over the disputed canals and are seeking fair water distribution under the 1991 agreement. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif launched this year's second nationwide anti-polio campaign on Sunday, pledging to achieve what he called a roaring success. The campaign will run from April 21st to April 27th. During the launch ceremony in Islamabad, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif administered polio drops to children and emphasized the importance of collective efforts in eradicating the virus. He expressed gratitude to international partners, including the World Health Organization and the Bill Gates Foundation, for their continued support.
पोलियो की एक और मुहिम का आगाज़ हुआ है और हमने यहाँ पे नन्हे मुन्ने बच्चों को पोलियो के कतरे पिलाए हैं ताकि अल्लाह ताला के फज़ल व करम से ये बच्चे और इंशाअल्लाह लाखों और बच्चों को इस कैंपेन में करोड़ों बच्चों को पोलियो के कतरे पिलाए जाएंगे
Punjab Information Minister Asma Bukhari has condemned the recent attacks on international fast food outlets across the country, stating that such actions do not help Gaza and only harm Pakistanis. Her remarks follow a string of incidents in both Sindh and Punjab where fast food chains were targeted as part of protests and boycotts against Israeli actions in Gaza. One such incident in Sheikhupura resulted in the death of a worker. Addressing a press conference in Lahore, Bukhari described the attacks as organized and not spontaneous.
फ़लस्तीन और गज़ा से यकजहती के नाम के ऊपर लोगों के कारोबार को और इमलाक को नुकसान पहुंचाया जा रहा है, जिसके ऊपर मैं आपसे कुछ गुफ्तगू जो है वो करना चाहती हूँ। इन जो फूड चेन्स हैं जिनके ऊपर पंजाब में भी कहाँ हमले हुए और उसकी डिटेल्स भी इंशाल्लाह आपके साथ शेयर करती हूँ, लेकिन ये पहले बताने की ज़रूरत है कि इन फूड चेन्स में 25,000 पाकिस्तानी, कौन 25,000 पाकिस्तानी, कोई यहूदी काम नहीं करता, इसमें यहाँ पर पाकिस्तानी काम करते हैं। और जहाँ जहाँ इन फूड चेन्स को निशाना बनाया गया वहाँ पर पाकिस्तानी शहरियों को नुकसान हुआ है, ज़ख्मी भी पाकिस्तानी शहरी हुए हैं और हलाक भी जो है वो पाकिस्तानी शहरी हुआ है। और ये गज़ा के नाम पर, फ़लस्तीन के नाम पर ये जिस किस्म की आग लगाने की कोशिश की जा रही है, ये यकीनन ना पाकिस्तानी है ना पाकिस्तान से मोहब्बत करने वाले लोग हैं। ये वो लोग हैं जिनको पाकिस्तान का अमन अच्छा नहीं लगता।